Inbounds it to Hamby, and so now that'll be that. So the Indiana Fever come into here after losing 3 of their last 4.
The Indiana Fever just survived their toughest battle of the season, but it almost slipped away. Up by a single point in the closing seconds, the referees handed the LA Sparks extra chances that never should have happened. Caitlin Clark and Sydney Colson wasted no time calling it out, and fans are furious. So what exactly went down in LA? How did the Fever push through the chaos, the blown calls, and the pressure to keep their playoff hopes alive? Let's break down the controversy and why this win could reshape the entire season. What's your take on the officiating? Drop it in the comments. Let's get into it.
One common theme in the WNBA is how poorly officiated these games can be. The lack of competence from the people wearing the striped suits. Every time I watch a WNBA game, a thought crosses my mind when it comes to the officials, and that thought is, how much money do you have on this game?
Why did the final 3.9 seconds of Fever versus Sparks feel like an eternity? Because in that tiny sliver of game time, the referees managed to drag things out and nearly steal Indiana's biggest win of the season. The Fever were hanging on to a 76-75 lead. The arena was shaking, and everyone inside knew this was bigger than just one night. Indiana sat in 6th, LA just 2 spots back. One possession could flip the entire playoff race. And in Crypto.com arena, every dribble, every whistle carried weight. The problem? The whistles just wouldn't stop.
I'm talking about right at the end of the game when the nonsense was being called and cheating was being speculated, right? Everybody was looking like how Caitlin Clark was looking by the end of that game last night with the Indiana Fever and the Los Angeles Sparks. Everybody was looking just like this, man. What in the world was going on?
It started with the Sparks searching for one last chance to steal it. But instead of letting the game play out, the refs kept stepping in. The clock reset in ways that didn't make sense. Contact was whistled on one end, ignored on the other. And every time Indiana forced a turnover or defended perfectly, LA somehow got another inbound. These weren't long possessions, but each stoppage dragged the moment out until it felt less like basketball and more like the Sparks were being handed lifeline after lifeline. Fans at home couldn't help but ask, how many chances does one team?
Let's take a look at this. All right. Now, it was 0.6 on the shot clock when this happened. Okay. They had the ball. They were running around. I thought the game was over here. Honestly, I thought the game was over, but they ended up calling a foul, saying, oh, the game is still going on. All right, whatever. They got the foul. Cool. So, Kelsey Mitchell, she goes to the free throw line, right? And she missed both of them. Now, I think Kelsey Mitchell should have made both of them. All right. At least one of them. But she missed both of them. Okay.
In the middle of that endless stretch, Aaliyah Boston delivered the defensive play of the night, ripping the ball away when LA tried to force it inside. Indiana raced the other way, and Kelsey Mitchell earned a trip to the line. With just 0.4 seconds left, her first free throw rimmed out. That should have ended it. But instead of letting the final tick disappear, the officials handed the Sparks yet another inbound, this time with 0.1 seconds still showing. That single decision lit up Fever fans online. How can any team realistically run a play with less than the blink of an eye?
But man, there is no way. Right at the end of the game, you should be on top of it. You telling me you're not paying attention to when some hands touch that ball? Come on, man. And then to reward them with the timeout, like, fam, that's crazy work. Look, Caitlin Clark, like, what is going on here? She's like, no. Look, Caitlin ready to run the floor, fam. She's like, no. What is this, man? What is this nonsense?
And this wasn't just paranoia. All season long, the WNBA has been dragged into controversy over bizarre endings, questionable clock management, soft fouls in crunch time, and endless trips to the replay monitor. On this night, Indiana felt like the latest victim of a pattern that points to either incompetence from officials or something worse. Within minutes, social media was flooded with clips of that 0.1 inbound, sparking a wave of posts accusing the league of embarrassing itself yet again.
And they put 0.1 on the shot. 0.1 on the shot clock, fam. What are we doing? What are we doing, man? I mean, this is nonsense. How do you even have time to do anything? How do you even have time?
But the Fever refused to break. No matter how many extra chances Los Angeles was gifted, the Sparks couldn't cash in, and Aaliyah Boston made sure of it, holding firm at the rim until the ball finally bounced away harmlessly. This time, the buzzer was real. What unfolded felt less like a basketball finish and more like a trial of patience, a test of how much chaos Indiana could withstand before being rewarded. In the end, it wasn't the whistles that defined the game, but the resilience and grit of the Fever players, especially with so many key names stuck on the sidelines.
Oh my goodness, man. They did everything they could to try to get them a win in this one, fam. It's ridiculous. It was flat out ridiculous.
How does a team missing its biggest star and 3 other key rotation players still find a way to win a game that could reshape the playoff race somehow? That's exactly what Indiana did against the Sparks. Caitlin Clark was still out, not yet cleared to return. Sophie Cunningham, one of their most reliable scorers, unavailable. Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald, both guards who bring energy and ball-handling depth, sidelined, too. And then there was Lexi Hull, stepping onto the floor with not one but 2 black eyes from a brutal collision just a game earlier. Looking at the lineup sheet before tip-off, most assumed Indiana simply didn't have enough left in the tank.
Steph mentioned, whenever she sees you with the 2 black eyes, she smiles in a way because it just exemplifies your toughness. Do you feel tough in these kinds of situations with these 2 black eyes?
I mean, that's what people keep telling me. Every time she sees me, she smiles and then she says, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "You don't need to be sorry. This is what it is." And when I'm playing, like, I forget about it, and then I go and look at the mirror. I'm like, "Oh shit, they're still there." So yeah, I don't really think too much about it because I don't necessarily feel them all the time.
Yeah, and you're still able to see completely fine?
Yep.
Right.
Nothing's changed.
Right, perfect.
The easy assumption that Los Angeles finally had its shot to bury Indiana's playoff hopes. Without Clark's shooting and Cunningham spacing, the Fever were stripped of their offensive balance. Without Colson and McDonald, Kelsey Mitchell was left to shoulder the full weight of running the point. On paper, it was a mismatch. But basketball doesn't always stick to the script, and on this night, one veteran refused to let the story end the way the Sparks expected.
Sims left open for 3. She got it. Offensive rebound. Sims the runner. Here's Howard. Shovels Sims right at the doorstep, and she gets it off the window. 3-on-3 the other way. Sims the take and finishes the lefty layup.
Odyssey Sims has been just about everywhere in her career, including a stint in a Sparks jersey during her younger days. But this night, she turned into their worst nightmare. Sims poured in 21 points, slicing through lanes to the rim over and over. And when the Fever needed steady hands in the chaos, she delivered the final 5 points herself. That closing burst was the dagger, giving Indiana the cushion to survive both the Sparks and the officiating. In a season full of questions, Sims offered the answer, a reminder of what veteran composure and poise look like when the pressure peaks.
Sparks started the game on a 7-0 run. Here's Mitchell. Right back to Boston. And unable to get that one, but follows her on. Cameron Brink and Ray Burrell going to be checking in next time there's a stoppage for LA. Here's Turner in traffic, and she gets it up off the window.
Beautiful pass from Boston.
7 on the shot clock. Mitchell turning the corner. Jump stop in the lane, loses the ball. Brink throws it right to Boston. Easy layup.
Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston once again proved why she's the franchise anchor. Her numbers don't just list points and rebounds, they show complete control. She owned the paint defensively, forcing the Sparks into awkward shots and ripping down boards through double teams. And whenever Indiana's offense stalled, Boston was the stabilizer, delivering tough post play, setting crushing screens, and creating second-chance looks. Without her presence, That chaotic fourth quarter almost certainly ends with a different result.
Sims. They kick it out. A hole of three.
Big bucket from Lexi Hall.
And then there was Lexi Hull playing heavy minutes with her face still swollen and bruised. She embodied Indiana's toughness. Diving on the floor, sprinting back in transition, spacing the court even when her shot wasn't falling. Hull was the definition of next woman up. The Fever needed bodies, and she gave them more than minutes. She gave them momentum. Kelsey Mitchell wasn't perfect, especially in crunch time, but her relentless scoring pressure forced LA to adjust all night. Even when the shots didn't drop, she demanded attention, opening lanes for Sims and Boston to work. That willingness to shoulder the load in Clark's absence spoke volumes about leadership and about why this team refuses to fold.
We have a deep team that a lot of people, a lot of players on our team could be playing and they're not. And that's a tribute to our depth, certainly, but also sometimes everybody wants to play, right? And I think the selfless nature of this group just can't be overstated. And that's why we're able to be in positions like this that we're able to be in.
Head coach Stephanie White patched together rotations built on toughness and defense. Indiana scrapped for every inch, turning each possession into a battle. This wasn't just survival, it was proof the Fever can thrive even while short-handed. And with reinforcements on the way, the question becomes, what happens when Caitlin Clark rejoins this gritty core? Ironically, the player who didn't even touch the court ended up owning the post-game conversation. Indiana's win should have been the headline, but Clark's reaction to the officiating stole it. Sitting on the bench in street clothes, she didn't hold back. Her visible frustration echoed exactly what fans had been screaming online. The referees had crossed a line. And when the most high-profile player in the league shines that kind of spotlight, it doesn't fade with the final buzzer, it becomes the story.